have over these last couple of months, I've really gone into another level of healing, unlocking different secrets that I can help teach you to do so that you can walk into the next level of abundance and freedom in your life. So, what are some of the things? Because I know you're like, all right, let's not be cryptic. Happy Self Love Sunday, everyone. This is your host of Self Love Sundays, Tarnisha Moe Sass. And it's been a minute. Let's talk about it. It has been a minute since I've done a live video. And today I kind of wanted to explain what's been happening. I want you guys to know because somebody asked me this question. They said, what sets you apart? What makes it so that people should invest in themselves with you? Why should they watch your channel? And the one thing that I will say that sets me apart is when I come here, it's because I'm teaching you the very things that I have learned because I've gone through it. The biggest thing when it comes to, in my opinion, professional coaching is I never ever coach something that I haven't personally put myself through. And I think that that's so important. Now let's be honest for a second. Let's get real. There are coaches out there, professional basketball, football coaches that are successful and never played the game. However, let's talk about the ones that have played the game and just how much more successful they are because they understand the ins and outs of the different positions because they played it. And so that's the one thing that set me apart. But you know what? We're not going to go all through that. We'll talk about me some more later, but I want to talk about what I've been up to. So, have over these last couple of months, I've really gone into another level of healing, unlocking different secrets that I can help teach you to do so that you can walk into the next level of abundance and freedom in your life. So, what are some of the things? Because I know you're like, all right, let's not be cryptic. So, number one, first and foremost, I went and saw one of my favorite authors, Billy Alsbrook. He has a book called Blessed and Unstoppable. And let me just tell you something. This is a game changer. When I come here, we're going to talk about Blessed and Unstoppable. We're going to talk about what more of this is coming in 2024 and why I felt it was important. I also, took myself to unleash the power within with the none other than Tony Robbins himself, who is just phenomenal. We're going to talk about what it was like to be in that room. And here's the thing, it wasn't just about what I received from being in that room, it's about what I was able to give as a result of all the work that I have been doing over these past couple of years and as a result of me sharing with my larger audience. So those are things where I took and I invested in myself because again, I believe that in order to ask people to invest in you, you must invest in yourself. So that's yet another thing that sets me apart. There are some gurus out here who teach shortcuts and do different things, but they haven't even been able to walk the walk. I've been someone who's buried two sons. If you've been around for a little while, you know that one who was stillborn and one who was murdered. I also was able to get released and healed from being in a verbally and domestic violence situation. I've also gone through a divorce. I've also been a 16 and pregnant mom. I've also took myself from being on welfare to six figures plus, which all of those things would not have been possible if I had not done the one thing that I feel is the most important, which is the renewing of my mind. And yes, I am a spiritual girl. And what that means is I have a personal relationship with my God. And we're going to talk about more of that coming in 2024 and why it's so important for you to have a personal relationship with yours. It's not important that you follow the same God that I do, but it's so important that you have something that's higher than yourself, that lays the foundation and the groundwork for your character, principles, and morals that you carry yourself with throughout your life. So Romans 12:2 is so important because when we're talking about, do not be conformed to this world, but be renewing with the transformance of your mind. So when we talk about renewing the mind, we're talking about opening ourselves up to new things. We're also talking about dying to things that no longer should be in our life. So this time that I spent away from you, I've been killing off things that I had to unlearn. And here's the thing about life. If you take the journey to invest in yourself, to invest in your growth, to invest in your healing, to do the thing that helps you become 1% better every day. Listen, God has tasked me with something so large. And it's just to teach people that if you make the 1% change and choice each day, where you would be at the end of the year would be monumentous. Okay. And why can I say that? Because at the end of last year, I bought you a book, which was mine, and it's called Finding Your Way, 7 Ways to Love and Heal Yourself. But as I've been in this transition period, in this next leveling up of myself and dying to, my ego and old beliefs and old ways, I've also been creating two new books. And this one is my accountability tracker. For those of you who don't know, I am an accountability coach in Eric Thomas, E.T. the hip hop preacher. For those of you who know him, his community, I run his accountability calls on Mondays and Fridays. And I invented an accountability tracking workbook that I know and it's been proven to work because I use some of those same principles that I apply in the book with those participants as well as my coaching clients. And I've also created a guided journal to loving and healing yourself, which is which you can use in combination with my book that I wrote last year, because within this book I asked some very important questions to help people heal, because I believe that questions are the answers. And both my journal and my accountability workbook is going to be open for sale coming in December. However, I want to say this too. There's also a card deck that I created called, Questions Are Finding Your Way, Questions Are the Answer journal deck. And because some people, they want to journal, but they're not quite sure what to journal on. And I have been tasked to help people learn how to love and heal themselves so they can live a life of abundance and freedom. And so those questions that are in that card deck, which I will have shortly, the cards are coming in the mail. I'm super excited about it. You'll be able to use those as well with the journal. I just think that it's like, I know journaling, being accountable, these are just some of the very small secrets that have happened, the 1% changes that I've made in my life that has helped me be the abundant creative person that I am today, that helps me show up the way that I show up in those environments and in the communities, to be able to not just, spread love, but also to help people free themselves from the very things that keep them stuck and keep them behind the 8 ball. And here's the thing I want to say to you too, because I know someone is listening to this and they may feel, well, listen, I'm in my 40s or even 50s or 60s and it's too late for me. I'm here to tell you that's why I'm here, to show you that it's never too late, to show you that if you take the absolute time to invest in yourself, that you can go to the next level, whatever that success looks like in your life. If you are a person who desires a relationship or just desire to have better relationships for the ones that you have now, to have great friendships because they exist. We live in a world that it will tell you that great men and women don't exist and great friendships don't exist. It's all a lie. But it starts with you investing in you first, and then developing the discernment to know who to allow and who not to allow in your life so you can have those great relationships. And discernment becomes so important in everything that you do. But how do we get to have a discerning spirit? Number one, we have to trust ourselves. We have to trust what we know and believe in our heart, spirit, and soul, and not what the world necessarily tell us. We also create a discerning spirit when we become closer with the God that we serve, and we start to understand, you know, our God's ways and laws and how to operate in this world, and the character traits of the ones that not only we should follow, but you'll get to learn the character traits of others and whether or not this person is or isn't good in your life. So I think that that's majorly important. But the whole purpose of this video today was for you to understand where I've been, what I've really been going through. Because the truth of the matter is, We all need to know ourselves. We also need to know what's the seasons of our lives, right? There is a certain time of the year. For me, it tends to happen around the end of August, September, and October for whatever reason. And I like to call that it's a season where, I'm more creative, but it's also a season where I'm working through some things. It's always that time of year where there's some things that have come up in my life and I'm working and I need to just work through them. I understand that this is a pattern, and I also stop to learn what the pattern is, to see are there any habits that I've created where I need to break the pattern, and create something new in my life. But that sometimes that requires you to step away. So it required for me to step away. And I want for the person listening today to ask yourself, is it time for you to take us to step away from some things, to step back, to really get into you, to learn yourself? I'm talking about completely learn yourself. There was a time, I promise y'all, when people used to be like, you just need to learn how to love yourself. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what you mean love? I love myself until I got real. Until I got real and I realized that that wasn't necessarily the truth. And it wasn't the truth because I could tell in the people that I was choosing to hang around, the things that I was deciding to do, and the choices that I was making. And I want to be very clear about the people I decided. I need you to hear my words. I decided to hang around. That's a choice. It's always a choice. You always have a choice. If you don't know that, well, you know it today. You have a choice. Now, we may not have a choice in terms of what family we're born into. We may not have a choice with that. However, as you get older, you have a choice to understand and know, right? If this family member is serving you or not serving you. And then we have a choice to understand how to love ourselves, to maneuver around those people. It's not necessarily to throw everybody away. Sometimes that's gonna happen. Of course it's gonna happen. You know what the biggest thing that I find too when this happens, people are always worried about what someone is going to think of who they were because they're not who they used to be. Listen, the reason why I step away and I work on myself and I spend time alone, just me and God, and I'm working it through. And sometimes when I say me and God, it's me and God in my home is usually just me, but I also still have my community because community is important. When you're going through depression seasons, let's call it what it is. When you're going through seasons of depression and you feeling down, especially when the winter is coming, winter blues is really, really real in these streets. Okay, for those of us who live in cold weather, where the weather changes consistently, winter blues is a real thing. So when you're going through that, it's not okay to completely go at it alone. So yes, there's times when I'm hibernating and I'm just working through some things with God, but I'm also still in connection with my community. I have a group of friends. We meet every Thursday morning and we talk about where we are and some of the things that we're working through. So I'm still doing that piece. So I want you to know today a couple of things. I'm listen. I still love y'all. We gonna rock. We gonna rock this thing out. We're gonna rock this till the wheels fall off. And I also want you to know that it's okay to step away. It's okay to go and put yourself intentionally in communities and spaces and places so that you can grow, right? That is the biggest. If ever you want to succeed in life, that's one of the biggest things that you can ever do. I was talking to a good friend, a pastor who I love, and he comes to me so I can give him a swift kick in the butt as a coach. And was having this conversation about the fact that many people, in talking about him myself, want things from people that we're not willing to give. And God, there's a saying that God loves a cheerful giver. And he's just not talking about tithing. It's in everything you do. So if you're out here supposedly serving the community, but you're not doing it from a place of goodness and the place of cheer, why are you doing it? And see, those are the questions that I ask myself. And that allows me to step away and say, if I'm not in good spirits, then I'm not really serving my community anyway. I'm not really serving you anyway. And so let me step back, reassess, reflect, recharge, and then regroup and come back. And so this whole month of December, that's some of the things that we're going to talk about. So I want you to stay tuned the next couple of weeks because we're going to talk about what it is that you can be working on in the month of December to get you ready for 2024. All 2024, every single thing that we're going to talk about is going to be connected to Romans 12 and 2. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I said this before, that I'm not here to tell you to read the Bible and follow my God. No, don't miss the message because you don't like the messenger, is what I'm going to tell people who may not necessarily believe in what I'm believing. But what it says is, do not be conformed by this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. All 2024, we're going to talk about renewing your mindset. Because the reason why most people are not where they desire to be, it has to do with mindset. 9 times out of 10, they're so connected to the past, they can't let the past go, so they can't live in the present. So therefore, we can't get to the future. So the reason why we're repeating patterns over and over again is because it's connected to our past, that thing that we cannot let go, that thing that we cannot forgive, that incident that happened that we can't forgive ourselves for. And so we don't trust, we don't believe, we don't love. Therefore, we stay stuck. We try to come out of it, but we always go back to it. So we're never getting to the land of milk and honey. So we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to break this down further in the month. Let me tell you something. 2024 is going to be a year of miracles if you start to understand that the miracle is in the small thing, the miracle's in the 1%. That's where the miracle lies. It's not in the big thing. The big thing comes as a result of the little miracles that can happen every day when you make a choice to choose it. Okay? So I love you guys for listening. You know, if you want to reach out to me, www.mosass.com. All my information is going to be put in the message, in the bottom of the message. But you can also email me, info@mosass.com. Reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook. I'm on all the things. Life coaching with Sass, just a W. And I hope to hear from you soon. But most importantly, I would love to hear, as a result of listening to these videos, what new choices have you decided to make? What 1% choice and change have you decided to make every day? And how it has impacted not just your life, but your family life? Because if you don't know this, that the small changes that you make, it doesn't just reflect in you, it reflects in everyone around you. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.